Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Q Warrior, and here we only discuss the interview question that is asked in the testing interviews. And if you are new to this channel, so it's very important to subscribe and also press the bell icon to get notification about this channel. And today we are going to see another important topic, and it's very important to watch this video till then. So let's begin. So today's topic is waterfall model in SDLC. So SDLC stands for Software Development Lifecycle, and I have previously created a video for SDLC. You can watch this video, and it is in the playlist, manual testing playlist, so you can watch that video from there. So let's start. So waterfall model, it is actually an example of the sequential model, and in this model the development activity is generally divided into the different phases, and each phase consists of series of tasks and different objectives. Okay, and it was the first model which was widely used in the software industry. Okay, and it is also called that it is the pioneer of the SDLC processes. Okay, and in this model all the tasks are divided into phases, and the output of one phase becomes the input of the next phase. Okay, and it is mandatory for a phase to be completed before the next phase starts. Okay, so there is no overlapping in the waterfall model. So I can say that if there are one or two phases, so you can't start the second phase without completing the first phase. Also, you can't start two phases together like first phase and second phase. Okay, so this is about the waterfall model. So this is the pictorial representation of the waterfall model, which looks very much similar to the SDLC model. There also we're seeing requirement gathering phase, designing, development, testing, deployment, and maintenance. And in the waterfall model also we can see the same thing like requirement gathering. But the main difference between the waterfall and the SDLC was like here in the waterfall model, you have to complete each phase before coming to the second phase. You can't directly jump to the third phase without completing the first and second phase. Okay. Also, you can't start the two phases together. That you can't start requirement and gathering and the design phase all together. So first you have to complete requirement, then only you can come to design, then only you can come to development, then only you can come to testing, then only you can come to deployment and maintenance. Okay. Now let's see the different phases of the waterfall model in details. Okay, so first phase, as we have seen, it was requirement gathering. So in this phase, the detailed requirement of the software or the application is gathered from the client or the business. Okay, so all the queries about what the application should be, so all those details are gathered in the requirement gathering stage. Second phase is the design stage. So in this phase, uh, the product architect, they decide upon that what programming language or the technology to be to use. For example, Java, PHP, or .NET, and about the database also, like what kind of database we require, like Oracle, SQL Server, or any other high level technical detail. So all these kinds of decision or the design are decided in the design stage. Okay, so third phase is the build stage. So in this phase, whatever design of the application of the software is created, it is implemented by the coding. The developer starts working on this phase in order to implement the design, what is decided in the design stage. Okay, next comes the test stage. Once you have completed the coding of the software, it has to go through the testing phase. So in the test stage, the software is provided to the testing team in order to verify that whether the build is as per the specification given by the client or not. Okay. Once the testing stage is done, then comes the deployment stage. Here you collect, once the testing is done, you take the code and deploy it to the production environment or go live. Okay. After deployment, it's the maintenance stage. So once your system is ready to use, you may later require some enhancement or code changes as per the customer request. Okay. So these all were the phases of the waterfall model. Okay. Now, when to use the SDLC waterfall model? So there are several models in the SDLC, but when we can decide uh, to select the SDLC model, so it is like when the requirements are not changing frequently. So in this case, you can choose the waterfall model, because if the requirements are changing frequently, then you have to either go with agile model. Okay. So if the requirements are not changing, go with the waterfall model. Second is application is not complicated and big. If the application on which you are working, it is not a big application or not complicated, then you can select the waterfall model. Second is if the project is short in the sense like if it's a standalone application, it doesn't have integration with many applications. So in that case, we can call the project is short and you can use the waterfall model. Requirement is clear. So in the first phase, that is the requirement gathering phase only, if the requirement is clear and the client or the customer is uh, very much clear about what product they actually want, and there will be no much more modification or changes has to be done at the later phase. So in that case also waterfall model is suitable. Environment is stable. If the environment is if regular deployment is not happening in a particular environment, so in that case also you can use the waterfall model. So in case if there is regular deployment, so what will happen is that the application will not work unless and until the deployment is complete. So in that case, we can't call the environment as stable. So in stable environment means that where the application or the software works continuously without any downtime. Okay. Now, technology and tool used are not dynamic and is stable. So once you have selected the technology, once you have chosen the tools, and that will be fixed and freezed and will not change. In that case also you can use the waterfall model. Another is resources are available and trained. So it means that resources means the associates or the software engineers are available and well trained. So in that case also you can use the waterfall model. Okay. Now every model in the SDLC has some advantages and disadvantages. So let's have a look. So before the next phase of the development, each phase must be complete. So as I have told that it's very sequential. So you have to complete each phase before you come to the next level. Okay. And error can be fixed only during the phase. So it means that this error can be fixed only if the code is in the building phase. Okay. If it has come to the testing phase and you are seeing some issue, so all those errors will be fixed in the upcoming release, not in that particular release, because it's a sequential phase. You can't go back from the testing phase to the building phase. Okay. Now, suited for a smaller project where requirements are well defined. We discussed this earlier. So it is only suited for the smaller project, and it is not suitable for the complex and complicated projects. Okay. Third thing, that before completing each stage, quality assurance has to be made in order to make sure that all the phases by which the waterfall model or the application has come is thoroughly tested. Okay. Because testing period comes very late in the development process. Okay. So it's very important, even if it is in the requirement phase, focus has to be there in the requirement phase, because once that phase is complete, it will directly come to the build phase, and you can't go back to the requirement phase once you have passed a phase. Okay. Now, elaborate documentation is done at every phase. So, lot of documentation is done at every phase of the waterfall model, and the main disadvantage is that it takes a lot of time and effort of the developer and the tester, which they can devote to the testing, but they devote a lot of time to the documentation. Okay. Another thing, the project is completely dependent on the project team and has very minimum client interaction. Okay. And the main disadvantage is that the client valuable feedback, you will not get the client valuable feedback as it is not included with the ongoing development phase. You only interact with the client during the requirement gathering phase. You understand the requirement, you get your queries resolved. So this is the only time you get interaction with the client. Okay. And client comes into picture only when the product is delivered. Okay. In the waterfall model. Now, any changes in the software is made during the process of the development. So if there is any changes required or code changes, anything or enhancement or any update is required, so it will only be done in the development phase. Once the development phase is complete and it has come to the testing phase, then even if you find any error, so it will cause first a lot of problem, and all the errors will go back. It will go into the product backlog, and it will only be fixed in the upcoming release. In this particular release, this product will go live with all the error. Okay. So that's all in this video. We will see most interesting and important topics in the upcoming videos, and please subscribe to my channel, like the videos, and also comment down on the video if you have any queries. Thank you for watching.